Hi everybody and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. I persuaded Jane to join me again, even though she was on last week. She couldn't resist but come back again, Jane, isn't that right?
Oh, that is so right, yes. The enthusiasm in my face says it all.
And we're in a different office. We've got something extra special for you next week, but this week we're in the office, which is the A-Team office, isn't it, Lynn? Lynn's behind us here. There you are. In the A-Team office, rather than the other office that we've been in. But next week we've got a special treat for you because we're going to give you a tour around the offices. But we have to wait for that. Anticipation is a great thing. What we're going to have a quick chat about in this week's Facebook Live is volunteer and other opportunities at Shepherd's Walks and GPS training. So we've got a number of volunteers, but because we're at the start of 2018, we're looking for some more volunteers to help out. So one of the main things that volunteers help us for is for challenge walks, isn't it, James? What kind of things do they help out at challenge walks?
Yes, they're a really big part of this. The feedback we get from participants on these challenge walks is that the volunteers are a major part of it. Just that the fact that they're there with a smiley, happy face to cheer them on, and to say well done to them. If they do have a problem or an issue, they're there to sort of help out with that. Simple things like making them a cup of tea, getting them a bit of cake or a biscuit. If there is a problem, they can come and alert one of the staff members that something needs to be done about it. Maybe that they need somebody to come and get them and take them back to the finish line in the car or whatever. But more than anything, it's about that happy smiley face and getting them to that finish line at the end.
And we've got 400 participants on this year's Coastal Challenge Walk, which is the beginning of May. So
lots of smiling, lots of cheering, lots of whooping as they go along. But it's a really important part of those challenge walk days. It's a really important job.
That's good. So that's one of the key things. So again, we're just going to explain some of the different functions that volunteers help out with in Shepherd's Walk. So challenge walks is a key thing. We've got 3 challenge walks this year: the Coastal Challenge, the Coca Valley Challenge, and the Kielder Challenge in September. And volunteers can help with registration, just to support that.
That's the other side of it. So that's the main job that we haven't done. But we also we have checkpoints around each of those courses, anywhere between 2 and 4 checkpoints, depending on how big the challenge walk is. So at every checkpoint there will be at least 2 members of staff or volunteers there, and each participant will have to go through that checkpoint, be checked in at a time. So we need somebody there to record the time that they go through that checkpoint and to physically punch their card. Each participant has a card and they need a stamp putting in, and that's the job that the volunteer does for us as well.
So as well as the challenge walks, we've got volunteers who backmark our walks, both on our Nordic walks, which Jane leads, and also our day walks, our normal day walks. So again, we've got a lot of people who are into walking, want to come along, and they can volunteer. They'll usually help at the back, help anybody at the back. And again, for us, the people at the back are often the most important people, so those volunteers will keep them happy, report anything they need to know back to the leader at the front. And also, by coming on a lot of those walks, they'll get some good experience and understand and work with different leaders, and they'll understand how guiding works really on a business like ourselves. And then the third thing that our volunteers do is help out in courses. So we have, of course, Map and Compass courses and GPS training courses and Nordic walking courses. So we get volunteers who come out. Again, it's just welcoming people in, isn't it? Helping out, if somebody's struggling a bit, volunteers, and making cups of tea and coffee and other such things, isn't it?
The important jobs.
Yeah, all the important jobs. So again, we've got a wide scope for volunteers. So again, if you're interested in any of those, just give us a shout. What I'm going to look at is some of the volunteers we've had in the past. So we've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now, but a wide range of volunteers coming in over those years, and some have ended up doing very different. So I've just done a case study, sounds quite formal really, of 2 volunteers. The first one is Mark Nordman. So I'll talk a little bit about Mark. Mark came in as a volunteer, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago. He came into one of our Rothbury inductions, and he volunteered for a couple of years. He helped out on challenge walks. He did a lot of backmarking on our day walks, and a very experienced walker. But over the time, he's now become a guide in his own right for Shepherd's Walk. So if you look on our day walk program for this year, you'll see Mark's guiding a lot of our day walks for this year. He also guides our St Cuthbert's Way holiday, St Cuthbert's Way for Shepherd's Walks holiday. So he's away, I think about a week at a time for that. And then he came to us with an idea last year. He's walked the coast to coast. He would like to do some guiding on a guided trip along the coast to coast. So he came with an idea there. We helped him put that into place, and we now sell that as a Shepherd's Walks holiday. So this is someone who came along just volunteered for a few years, helping making cups of tea. Still helps out and volunteers at the challenge walks that we still do. Be guides now for us on both our day walks and our walking holidays. And may I add, when the guides start guiding for us on our challenge walks and our day walks and our holidays, we actually pay them a proper commercial guide. So they stop volunteering, but Mark still comes back and volunteers for the challenge walks and helps out, gives t-shirts out and this kind of thing. So he does our day walks and holidays. So that's a volunteer that's came in, and after 4 years he's actually commercially guiding for us, and we can say he's been brought up in Shepherd's Walk, so he understands the ethos of what we're about, and we really like people like Mark. The other person that Jen's gonna have a quick chat about is Henry. So Henry does so much for us now.
So Henry Kay, he was actually a customer. He walked into our shop when we used to have a tourist information centre. We ran that here in Rothbury. He recently moved into the area, and we walked into the shop and we had a nice conversation. And he wanted to get involved in the community here in Rothbury and do a little bit of voluntary work, keen on the outdoors. So we said, well, why don't you come along and see what we do? And he came and he volunteered on a couple of our challenge walks, and he started doing a little bit of the sweep, sort of walking behind all of our participants on the challenge walks. And really enjoyed it, but he liked doing the long stretches of walking. So we said, well, if you enjoy doing that, why don't you come and do some volunteering on our guided walks? He really enjoyed doing that as well. Then he noticed we had these GPSs in our hands, and he was like, well, what are these? Well, they're GPSs, Henry. Oh, I'd like to learn about those. Well, why don't you come along and join one of our GPS courses and see what you think of that? So he started volunteering on the GPS courses as well, making the cups of tea, doing the register, welcoming people. Paid a lot of attention to that, and he actually approached John and said, look, I really like this. I'd quite like to learn a bit more, do the training, and possibly look at being a trainer. Long story short, Henry now does a lot of the training and is a trainer that we employ, and we pay for him to basically deliver training. He covers Sherwood Forest, he covers Fife, he does some of the courses in Rothbury, and the Lake District, he also goes over there. So any of the GPS courses in those areas.
And to put into context where Henry sits there is, like Henry was in the Lake District last weekend, so he was over in the Lake District last weekend. He's coming in the office tomorrow, which is Friday. He's picking up the vehicle. He's going to Fife in Scotland tomorrow. So
he flies all over the place, doesn't he, for us? Really?
He does. He does a lot of work for us.
So he does that. And again, going back to this, he likes the walking. He also is a guide for us on our Shepherd's Walks holidays as well. He does the 3 Peaks over in the Yorkshire Dales. So if you're lucky enough to go on one of those holidays, that's Henry's baby. He looks after them down there as well. So, and again, that is all started off with a brief conversation in the shop. Was interested in walking, did a bit of volunteering for us, and now we actually pay him to deliver those areas for us.
He does, and he also does our 3 Peaks in 3 days as well, our holidays there. So he does that, doesn't he, which is really good. And again, he doesn't do any volunteers. He still comes and helps on challenge walks and this kind of thing, but he does that, so it's really good. So lots of examples there. We're actually meeting with someone next week. So you're watching on Facebook there. He's talking about doing some work for us next week. So fingers crossed that they do. So you know who you are. So that's good. So there's lots of examples there of what the volunteers do. So volunteers have ended up doing various different things within it, and it's a way that we bring up people to do it.
It's the traditional way we've always done it, isn't it? We've had people who've come in as volunteers, and sometimes people have got ideas of what they would like to do, which is the person who's watching us at the moment. They have an idea that they can bring to us and say, look, I quite fancy doing this. It might be something that we've never thought of doing before, but we're open to ideas. But the general way that it happens is people come in as volunteers and they build with us that way, and at the end of the day they then go on to become guides for us or trainers. So
if you're interested, like, we don't have any commitment. No, we have volunteers who work 3 times a year just to help out at challenge walks, 3 days, and and they come along. We have other volunteers who really totally indulge themselves, will come on all our guided walks, will come on our GPS training course, our map and compass training courses, and really get engrossed in it because that's they want to learn, and then they can say, I like that part of it. Can I specialise in that bit? And that's brilliant. So really, as much or as little as people want to give, we're happy to do that. If you need any training, we're here. So again, if people who've had volunteers in the past who wanted to specialise in certain aspects within it, so we'll put them through the relevant training course and help them out if need be. So we're there to do that. So while I just mention that now, is we're going to have a volunteer get-together on Saturday, the 24th of March. Saturday, 24th of March in Rothbury. We're going to have a volunteer get. So if you're interested, you want to hear more, you can just get in touch. And again, just drop us an email, info@shepherdswalks.co.uk, info@shepherdswalks.co.uk. It's about 10:30 till 2:30, and you get a free lunch. Free lunch. And what we're going to do there is just go over some of the things we do, explain a little bit about how it all works, and hopefully then people like it and can say, actually, I can help out on these dates or whatever. So again, if you're interested, just get in touch and info@shepherdswalks.co.uk. So that's the volunteers. I'm going to tag on the bottom. I know we've been on there for a little while now, but I'm going to tag on the bottom a little bit about an apprenticeship. We've actually got an apprenticeship post, and we've had 2 or 3 applicants for it already. And Jane, do you want to explain a little bit about the apprenticeship, the post that we have as well?
So this is it's a specific apprenticeship. We're looking for somebody a young apprentice to work in our Shepherd's Walks holidays area of the business. There is information on our website, not on our website, on our Facebook page for this, if you are interested in it. So we're looking for a young person. You must be able to travel, obviously, because it is based here in our Rothbury base. So you need to think about how you're going to be able to travel here. It's 5 days a week. And to say, there's more information on our Facebook page if you scroll through. I'll refresh that on here once I come up.
I think we'll just put it on we can put it on this.
We can add it onto here as well. Yeah.
So if you're interested, you know everybody is interested, let them know, share it, let everybody know.
Yeah.
And
closing date is the end of this month. It's the end of February.
And that's very much working with the holidays. That's more an admin role, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're not going out and about.
No,
well, you may go out
office,
and about. It's more office based, and you'll be working.
It's a 12-month apprenticeship as well.
Working alongside Jackie, who's in the other office. That's the way that is. So I hope you enjoy this week's Facebook Live, and and if you know me who's interested in volunteering for us or in the apprenticeship position, can you just get in touch with ourselves? And I say we'll post the relevant information in the Facebook feed here. So have a good day, whatever you're doing, and enjoy the rest of your week. See you soon. Cheers.